Hey everyone, it's Pastor Paula Cook. Thanks for joining me today on Midweek Boost. We've been working our way through the book of Nehemiah, and today I want to share with you from Nehemiah, the 4th chapter. Up until this point, we know that Nehemiah, as he and the people are building the walls around the city of Jerusalem, have been dealing with various components of what it takes to build those walls. And we've seen how Nehemiah was a man who sought after God's plan. And he was diligent in his prayer life, and he put together a plan, and he was able to motivate the people and organize them so that they could use their gifts in the proper way so that they could build the walls around Jerusalem. Well, now we're here in chapter 4 of Nehemiah, and here Nehemiah is facing opposition from those around the city of Jerusalem. He is facing opposition, and he hears of the plans that are coming for those around him are thinking of attacking those who are building the walls around Jerusalem. Nehemiah does two things here in the 4th chapter. As he faces the opposition ahead of him, the first thing he does is when he hears about that opposition, he cries out to God. He speaks to God from the very place of his heart. And you see his prayer before God as we look at Nehemiah, the 4th chapter, and it begins in verse 4. And he really wants God to disrupt the plans of those who are trying to attack him and those who are building the wall. And then in Nehemiah 4:6 it says, we continued to build. All of it was joined together, and it reached half its intended height because the people were eager to work. Even though there were external factors and opposition, the people were eager to work. And because of their work, they were able to accomplish much. But here again, we see the opposition again trying to come against them. And this time, Nehemiah again calls out to God when he hears again about those who are making their way to try and attack them. But here's what Nehemiah does. He calls out to God, and then he prepares a plan. He literally sets it up so that those who are building are able to guard themselves as they build. And he sets a group of guards. So while some are building, some are guarding. And they rotate that through this time as they're building the wall. Now what we see here is a man of prayer and a man of preparation. And we think about leaders, we think about people who need to seek after the face of God, but they also need to be prepared for what's ahead of them. What is the opposition that they might face, and how will they face it? My friends, Nehemiah faced an external operation here of those who were going to try and attack them as they were building. But Nehemiah also prepared the people so that this operation of attack could not take place. Nehemiah was a man who sought God in prayer and also prepared. In our daily lives, we face opposition. In Ephesians, we are reminded, as Paul writes to the church at Ephesus, that we don't battle against flesh and blood, but we battle against the spiritual forces of wickedness and the principalities of this world. And we need to know that as we face opposition, God calls us to be a people of prayer, but a people who are also prepared to face the opposition. Because as Paul writes about the opposition we face, he then tells us to put on the full armor of God in Ephesians 6. My friends, maybe you're facing opposition right now. Know this, we all face those things that are opposing us. Often, when we are following the will of God, the opposition can be even greater. But know this, we are people who are called to seek God in prayer and then to be prepared to face the opposition. We do it today by praying and then putting on the full armor of God so that we are ready to stand as God's people when we are opposed and when the attack is on. My friends, we need to understand that when we trust God, God calls us to be a people of prayer and preparation. The two go hand in hand. So I pray that as you read Nehemiah 4 today, that you will see that for your own life. Be a person of prayer, but also be a person prepared with your armor on, as Paul tells us in Ephesians 6. Have a blessed day, and may you go forward as a person of God, fully prayed up and prepared for each day ahead of you. Enjoy your day, and I'll see you next week on Midweek Boost.